If you grew up with a narcissistic parent, you've likely developed specific traits that still affect you today as an adult, many of which you might not even realize. Today, I'm going to break down the 25 common traits and make sure to write in the comments how many you relate to. I'm Jerry Wise, and for over 45 years, I've helped hundreds of thousands of people break free from narcissistic and dysfunctional family dynamics, to reclaim their true self, and finally build a life of emotional freedom, inner peace, and healthy relationships. So what are the specific traits adult children raised by narcissistic parents have? Now, these are some of the common ones. It's possible you can be an adult child of a narcissist and not have every one of these traits. But these are the common ones I have found after working with adult children of narcissists for many years. Number 1, people pleasing. Believing love and acceptance must be earned by putting others first, even at their own expense. Number 2, over-awareness of others' emotions. Constantly scanning for mood shifts, often at the expense of their own feelings. In addition to this, we might also be toxically empathetic, hyper empathetic towards other people, in which we overly feel their feelings in an extreme way. Number 3, overly apologetic for just existing, saying sorry excessively, even for things that aren't their fault. I remember even apologizing for the weather when I was doing church work many, many years ago. And I would say sorry for things that I have no control over whatsoever. Number 4, struggling to make decisions. Overthinking everything, terrified of making the wrong choice. And this happens so much with adult children of narcissists when they're trying to figure out what is their life purpose, or what should they do for a job, or what career should they choose, or, what is their direction. And there's so much fear about choosing wrongly. And I understand that fear from my own personal experience. Definitely understand that fear. Number 5, low self-worth and chronic self-doubt. Feeling never good enough, constantly questioning their own reality, and that low self-worth affects everything in our lives. And we're always doubting ourselves. And so we run on the gasoline of guilt, shame, fear, and a drive for acceptance, approval, and even to find love and to find our own self-worth from other people. And of course, self-worth doesn't come from other people. Self-esteem doesn't come from other people. Unless you are an infant, a toddler, then that's a whole different dynamic of what's going on. But once you hit a certain age, it can't come from someone else. I'm not saying others can't care about you or love you or support you, but no one can give you self-esteem because it's self-worth, self-esteem. Number 6, fear of conflict, but attracted to chaos. So avoiding confrontation while unconsciously drawn to toxic, high drama situations. And isn't that kind of ironic that, again, I don't like conflict, but I'm drawn to the drama and chaos and toxicity of so many of my relationships. And why would that be? Because that is how we were programmed. The good news is we can break the program and reprogram ourselves. Number 7, hyper-independence. Never asking for help because relying on others feels dangerous or weak. And I would feel vulnerable if I have to rely on others. And so we can become hyper independent. No one needs to help me. I need to always have enough money, always be able to do the right thing. I need to do it yourself task. I need to, if I order a little piece of furniture or shelf, I need to be able to put it together. If I need to move, I should do that myself. Hyper independence can be one of the problems that we learned in a narcissistic home. 8, attracting toxic relationships, repeating unhealthy patterns and tolerating mistreatment because dysfunction feels similar. And again, it feels similar from our past. And of course, it's so crazy that we are drawn to something that feels like an old pair of jeans that fits so nice. And we can be drawn to that rather than beginning the process of self-differentiation where we change what we are drawn to because we change what's going on inside of us. One example would be if we're always looking for love from others and we don't love ourselves or we feel unlovable, continuing that looking is only going to be frustrating and probably will get us some pretty toxic relationships. We can begin to shift that by beginning and to work on our love for ourselves first, which is why so many marriage therapists, from my past working as a marriage therapist, you give advice to people who have divorced, hey, why don't you not date for a year? Now, is that just because I don't think they would like to be in a relationship? No, they'd like to be in another relationship. They still need to grieve the loss of their marriage, but they need a year to begin to change their programming so that they don't end up with a second divorce. We need to change that programming, because if you don't change that programming, second divorce, third divorce, fourth divorce, well, the first divorce occurred back when we were in children, and then we divorced several times after that. Number 9, trusting too much or not at all. Either blindly trusting people or assuming everyone has hidden motives. That's the ACON. That's the adult child of a narcissist. Many times, adult children of alcoholics experience that as well. Trusting too much or not at all. We are either clear over here on the pendulum or shift all the way over here to the pendulum because we never learn to be at the 90-degree mark. And that's what self-differentiation is, learning to do that rather than either extreme. Number 10, guilt and shame for having needs. Feeling selfish for setting boundaries or to prioritize ourselves. If I would actually prioritize myself, no, I can't take you to the mall because I had plans to go to the library alone and spend some time looking through some new books that I wanted to look at and have that time be a restful, relaxing time for myself. And no, I don't need to take you to the mall right now. I can take you to the mall some other time. And that would be a prioritizing of myself. But that can feel very uncomfortable if you're an adult child of a narcissist. Number 11, not knowing what healthy relationships feel like. Not knowing a safe relationship, stable love, a stable relationship, and true healthy love feels foreign to us, even boring. I've had a lot of people who found someone that was really good for them. They were adult child of a narcissist. This occurred with ACOAs as well, adult children of alcoholics. They find a relationship and it's too boring for them. They are so used to the chaos, drama, crises, problems that you get into a relationship that might be healthy and it just seems like there's nothing happening here. That's because of our programming. Number 12. Intense empathy for the wrong people, feeling deeply for those who hurt them while ignoring their own pain. Ever done that? Again, we feel sorry for people who have hurt us and don't even care about ourselves or how we were impacted. And that is not selfishness. That is empathy wrongly directed, is what that is. If you truly want to be empathetic, first be empathetic with you. Out of that, you'll know healthy empathy for others. Number 13, fear of abandonment. Deep anxiety about being left, leading to people pleasing, self-sabotage, or staying in unhealthy relationships way too long. I can raise my hand. Lots of us have stayed in relationships way too long. We don't want to say goodbye. We don't want to say this needs to stop. We don't want to be left. And again, I'm worrying about the empathy and with my empathy about feelings of others. I don't want them to feel abandoned by me. When really it may not be a healthy relationship to be in. So we have this deep anxiety regarding fear of abandonment. Number 14, adult children of narcissists read too much into text messages, voice messages, letters, emails. We may even analyze the punctuation and response times like a detective. Well, usually they respond back to me in, within 15 minutes to a half hour. Oh, it's been an hour. Oh my gosh, what does that mean? It means it's been an hour, because you don't know why they haven't gotten back to you. And again, what does that punctuation mean? What do those words mean? We tend to overanalyze and read into things a lot of the times in relationships and even with communications. Number 15, over-explaining everything. Feeling the need to justify even small decisions. And I have lots of folks who deal with their narcissistic parent or maybe other narcissistic family members, and they will continue to over-explain after they become an adult, trying to either convince the other person that they're right and these are the reasons why I'm doing this, and if you only know the reasons, you would be nice to me, accept me, and understand my decision. As you've probably already found out, that doesn't work very well. It just has you over-explaining and putting you in many ways, a subordinate relationship to them. Why do I need to over-explain? Well, Mom and Dad, we've always had Christmas. I'm an adult now. We've always had Christmas at your house on Christmas morning. The kids' mom and I have decided we would like to have our own Christmas on Christmas morning and pick another day or another time when we can meet together as a family. And Mom and Dad or the parents get upset, go through drama, feel hurt. Why are you doing this to us? Don't you know that's always our tradition? What's wrong with you? We want to see the grandchildren on Christmas Day, not Christmas Eve or not the next day after Christmas. And for many of the kids, they might not even know what day it is, but it becomes very important for us as adults. And so, by the way, Jesus was not born on Christmas Day. So it's not December 25th. So you might want to remember that when we talk about that holiday. It wasn't on that day, but yet we put everything in it like it is. And actually, it's a family time, which is fabulous. It's a religious holiday and a family time. And we then feel like we need to explain to them, well, it's because of this and because the children, we want to spend more time with the children. We've always done it this way, Mom and Dad. And we need to, we want to make a change because we've just, never have enough time for our kids in the morning. We have to get them all ready to go to grandma's house. It just makes Christmas Day really problematic. I'm over-explaining the decision. A good way to respond for an ACON or an adult child is to say, I know this may come as a disappointment. We have always done this on Christmas morning. Sherry and I would like to do our family Christmas on Christmas Day with our kids. And we'd like to arrange another time around the holiday where we bring them over and see you guys as grandparents and exchange gifts at that time. Again, I know it may feel like a disappointment, which I can understand because that has been our pattern, but we would like to change that. Do you know that nothing else needs to be explained? What else needs to be said? It's what you and Sherry decided. You're adults. It's your family. It's your kids. Now, they may say, well, how are we all going to get together with all the family? Because your brother and sister and their families will be here. I understand they probably will. And that's fine with us. We can spend some time with them at another time. Or we all may want to decide, if we all want to be together, that we may need to choose another day for us to get together. If not, you guys have that holiday, we'll have ours, and then we'll come over to your house at some other time, and then we'll get the gifts to my siblings and their kids. I mean, I'm sorry it's a disruption, but this is what we've decided to do. So we want to watch the over-explaining. It only creates more reactivity when we over-explain. And certainly stay in a mode of firm calmness. That's very important for declaring self. Number 16, crippling guilt for saying no. The great book, When I Say No, I Feel Guilty by Manuel Smith. is one of the best books I read early in my own recovery. And it just really, I think there's some other When I Say No, I Feel Guilty books that have been out since then. We feel like setting boundaries or saying no is a betrayal in some ways. No, it's a preference. I'm not wishing to betray you. I'm not wishing to hurt you. It is my preference. Oh, here, you must eat the sweet potato pie. Well, I'm not one who really likes sweet potatoes all that much. Probably should because they're healthy, but I don't like the taste of them. And if somebody I go, no, I'm sure they're delicious. It's just not something I eat. And I can feel guilty for saying no rather than, okay, just spoon that on there and then I just take a little teeny bit. And then they go, well, you haven't finished those. They're way up in my business. So I need to, before that, say, I appreciate it very much. I'm sure they're delicious, but I want to pass on that right now. But thank you very much. 17, feeling lazy when resting. Relaxing triggers intense boredom, anxiety, or shame. And again, can feel guilty, feel lazy, feel worthless if we're relaxing. That's a common one for many people that I've worked with. Number 18, feeling safer in chaos than in calm. Peace feels unsettling, like something must be wrong. Everything's kind of calm and things are going on okay. I like it, but I'm still kind of hyper vigilant about something that's going to change or happen. Or when is the sword of Damocles going to fall? When is the other shoe going to drop? We have those kinds of feelings because growing up, there always was another shoe that dropped. If the shoe hadn't dropped yet, it will. And so we might feel safer in chaos than in calm. And one of the sayings I heard in the recovery community, if things are going along well, you may not want to be standing around someone who's an ACON or an ACOA. If things are in a crisis, there's a panic or some real problem, you're always safer next to an ACOA and an ACON because they can manage themselves real well during that time. But when it's boring, calm, and healthy, that may confuse them and cause them much more anxiety. Number 19, struggling to accept praise. Compliments makes ACONs feel uncomfortable and may breed suspicion. Well, I wonder why they're complimenting me. How am I going to get smacked in the end? This feels like a pat on the head, but I'll bet a smack is coming. And that's common for those of us who grew up in a dysfunctional family. Number 20, emotional chameleon. We become an emotional chameleon, instinctively adapting personality, opinions, or emotions depending on who we're around. We are a shapeshifter. If that's I know that's in the movie somewhere, I saw that. But we're a chameleon. Maybe that's the best. We just kind of turn into the colors and experience of what's around us. Now, there's nothing wrong with getting along with people in different settings, but I don't consider that being a chameleon. A chameleon is, I'm whatever this group system is, I'm going to absorb it and regurgitate it. That's a chameleon. Number 21, struggling to feel real, feeling like they are just performing in social situations instead of just being themselves. Have you ever realized that, when you go out or go to a party and you're all done, you may have even had a good time. But if somebody were to say, were you your real self at the party? Well, no, not really. I mean, I laughed, I did this, but could I just sit there quietly if I wanted? Could I tell a joke if I wanted? Could I express an opinion if I wanted? Or maybe even express an opinion that wouldn't be popular. Not that I want to bring every party down because of a negative opinion, but I'm just saying that, how real are we when we're in social situations? 22, emotional numbness in stressful moments. Often ACONs shut down instead of reacting. They may be reactive, they may shut down. And then, of course, the ultimate shutdown is kind of dissociation, where we just kind of leave the reality here for a moment and leave our bodies and leave our awareness. And so emotional numbness is not uncommon. 23, an intense startle reflex, jumping at sudden noises or unexpected interactions. And I know after I experienced a post-traumatic stress situation that was pretty traumatic, I noticed how much I had an intense startle reflex. And even today, if I hear a particular loud sound or at a particular time of day, that may cause me to jump it doesn't interfere with my life in any major way. But, that can be a carryover from PTSD or growing up in a narcissistic home with CPTSD. 24. Feeling like an imposter. In adulthood, waiting for someone to expose them as a fraud. We just don't feel like we are who we are, and I just don't want anyone to know who I really am, because if you all knew who I really was, well, you wouldn't be listening to me at all. It's that imposter syndrome that regardless of the problems and things I've been through, you can listen to me, learn from me, take what you can use and leave the rest. That's how we should view YouTube videos. But many of us have experienced the imposter syndrome because of growing up in dysfunctional families. Number 25, fear of being too much or not enough. Constantly worrying how we are being perceived. And again, in relationships and dating situations, am I too much? Am I not enough? And we do what I call the pendulum swing. And the pendulum emotional swing and mental swing is often a result of a toxic, narcissistic, or very dysfunctional family. We go from this side to 0 degrees over to 180 degrees. And as I've learned, 180 degrees from sick is still sick. 90 degrees is what's healthy. And so we get to a balance and learn to love ourselves and care about ourselves. So I don't feel like I'm too much. I don't feel like I'm not enough. I'm just kind of me. If you're ready to finally break free and build a life filled with emotional freedom, inner peace, and healthy relationships, join the free training today. Over 30,000 people have taken this training and used it to build a strong, confident sense of self, free from guilt, control, manipulation. Click the link below and get started. And don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell icon so you won't miss any new upcoming videos. I want to thank you for watching. Have a great day and be wise.